Hello students, today we will discuss two topics. First one is frequency modulation and the second is demodulation. Both of these topics are in the chapter modulation and demodulation. Now, first of all, frequency modulation. As we know that if you want to transmit some signal, it may be audio signal or a video signal, from one place to another, you need some carrier wave, and this audio or video signal, it is superimposed on that carrier wave, and the process is called modulation. In our previous lectures, we have discussed amplitude modulation, in which the amplitude of the carrier wave was modified according to the instantaneous value of the modulating signal or wave. Modulating signal can be audio or video signal. Here, in frequency modulation, the frequency of the carrier wave gets modified. So, you must notice that in amplitude modulation, the amplitude of the carrier wave gets modified, and in frequency modulation, the frequency of the carrier wave gets modified according to the instantaneous value of the audio or video signal. So, this process is called frequency modulation. So, how we achieve this? You can see that this equation 1 shows a frequency modulated signal equation, in which the amplitude, it remains same as that of the carrier wave, but the modification will be in the angular displacement part, that is the theta t, in which we have frequency and the phase. So, how we do? From our previous knowledge, we know that this angular frequency is rate of change of angular displacement, and this theta t, that is angular displacement, it is the integral of omega t dt. By definition of frequency modulation, the angular frequency gets modified. So, omega c is the original frequency of the carrier wave. When it gets modified according to the instantaneous value of the modulating signal, that is Es, where Kf is the proportionality constant. So, when we put the value of Es, then we get omega t, and this omega t in this given box, when we put this value here in this relation, from that relation we get the value of theta t. So, it is a simple mathematical steps which you can do easily, and from here we get the value of theta t given by equation 2. So, this value, if we put in equation 1, then we get the desired value of the frequency modulated wave. So, here you can see that equation 3 represents a frequency modulated wave when we put the value of theta t here. Now, the frequency, we know it is omega t by 2 pi, and if we put this value, we get a relation for ft, which is equal to fc plus this term, and if we take the maximum value of this cosine, which is equal to 1, in that case we get Ft minus Fc, that is the maximum change in frequency, equal to Kf Es over 2 pi. So this is a relation which is useful when we are to solve some numericals. That relation is given in equation 4. So delta F maximum is the maximum deviation in frequency. Similarly, another term which we frequently used in this modulation chapter, that is modulation index. So it is defined as the ratio of maximum frequency deviation to the frequency of modulating signal. So you can easily find the value of modulation index, that is MF, delta F maximum over Fs. So these all equation 5 and equation 4, they are useful results when we are to solve the numericals for frequency modulation. Also, the equation 3, it can be written in the form of equation 6. So it is another equation 6 is another form of a frequency modulated wave. Various conclusions or inferences which we can draw from this frequency modulation derivation we are discussing now. First one is that in frequency modulated wave we have infinite number of side frequencies. You can see their values, that is Fc plus minus Fs, Fc plus minus 2Fs and so on up to NFs. If you compare it with the amplitude modulation, you would remember that in amplitude modulation there were only two side frequencies. One was Fc plus Fs on the right side and another was Fc minus Fs on the left side of the central carrier wave frequency Fc. So this is a major difference between the FM wave and the amplitude modulated wave, that is the AM wave. Another thing you should notice is the amplitude of side frequencies, they goes on decreasing as the order of the side frequencies increases. So this another point you must remember, that the side frequencies, as their order increases, as you can see here, when it becomes 2Fs, 3Fs and up to NFs. So as the order increases, the amplitude of the side frequencies goes on decreasing. It means that Fc plus minus 3Fs, its amplitude is less than Fc plus minus 2Fs and so on. Also the bandwidth for FM wave is 2NFs. So that is straightforward, because bandwidth, it is the difference between the extreme frequencies. So extreme frequencies here is Fc plus NFs on the right side and Fc minus NFs on the left side. So the difference between them, it is 2NFs. In AM wave that difference was equal to 2Fs. Also the total power of F frequency modulated wave, it is equal to the power of carrier wave. If you compare with AM wave, in that case we found that the total power of AM wave was more than the carrier wave power, but here both they are equal. So another important question here is the advantages of FM wave over AM wave. So that is some of the points which you can compare with FM wave and AM wave, and you can do it from any book. Mostly the points which we have discussed in the this above article as well as in the AM wave, that those points will be covered in this advantages, and also some more details you can find in the book. If you have any confusion regarding any point, you can ask me whenever you like. Now the other topic which we will discuss in today's lecture that is demodulation. So demodulation is exactly opposite of modulation. In modulation, we superimpose the audio or video signal over a carrier wave so that we can transmit that signal from one place to another. In demodulation, what we do that as we reach our desired destination where we want to take that signal, or we want to use that signal, at that place we put a demodulating circuit. The function of demodulating circuit is to separate the audio or video signal from the modulated signal. It can be amplitude modulated signal, or it can be frequency modulated signal. So demodulation is the process of extracting or recovering or separating the audio or video signal from the modulated carrier wave. So here we will discuss one such method used for demodulation, and that is the diode detector circuit. This is the circuit diagram of that diode detector circuit. You can see that this is the antenna which catches the AM wave, amplitude modulated wave, which is in the space. So through this antenna, the AM wave, it reaches, or it goes into this circuit. In this circuit, here is a transformer, primary and secondary coils, and the secondary coil, it is connected to the variable capacitor, and this secondary coil and the variable capacitor, it act as a LC oscillator. So LC oscillator, it produces oscillations of the same frequency, that is of the AM wave. So that AM wave, it reaches, or it is produced by this combination of secondary of the transformer and the variable capacitor. Now further we have connected a diode. This diode, as you know, diode has the property that it conducts when it is forward biased and becomes and does not conduct when it is reverse biased. So for this positive half, that is the upper half of this AM wave, this diode, it is forward biased. Therefore its resistance is negligible, and so the upper half of the AM wave, it easily get passed through this diode. But for this lower part, or the negative part of this AM wave, this diode act as a becomes a reverse bias. So its resistance becomes very high. Therefore the lower part, it could not pass through this diode. Therefore after passing through the diode, this AM wave, its lower part or negative part gets clipped, and we only have the upper positive part. Now when this upper part of the AM wave, it further goes through this circuit, here is a capacitor. Now here you must notice that the time constant, which is the product of the resistance and the capacitor C, it is inversely proportional to rate of discharge of the capacitor. The capacitor which is on the right side of the diode, which that is parallel to the resistance in the circuit. Now if time constant is large, then the rate of discharge of the capacitor will be small, as we have said, that is, it is inversely proportional. And if the time constant is small, then the rate of discharge will be large. You can see from this diagram that here there is rapid increase and decrease of the voltage, input voltage, and as the voltage or the AM wave that starts decreasing, the capacitor, it starts discharging. Meanwhile, as the AM wave, it becomes minimum, and after that it again starts increasing. So at this value, both the capacitor voltage and the AM wave voltage become equal, and again it reaches the maximum. So this process, it gets repeated. So you must notice here that this straight line, it shows the voltage across the capacitor. Now, if the time constant RC is large, then capacitor will discharge slowly. In that case, this line, which is representing the capacitor voltage, its slope is increasing, or it's becoming almost horizontal. But what you can see here, that the AM wave, this minimum portion, it gets clipped. Clipped means that you cannot restore this portion, or you cannot retain this portion. Why? Because the capacitor voltage is, its slope is more, or its voltage is more than that of the voltage of that minimum value of AM wave. So this thing you want to avoid, because in that case this portion will be clipped. I want that I should get almost the same AM wave which we have transmitted from the initially in the process of modulation. So if the time constant RC, it is small, in that case also there will be rapid charging and discharging of the capacitor, and this line, its slope, it will be having more fluctuations. So we want that time constant, it should not be very large and it should not be very small. So here we will find the condition for the maximum value of time constant, that how much value of time constant is required for good output of the AM wave. For this, we want that the slope of the curve, which is representing capacitor voltage, it should be equal or less than the slope of the output signal, as you can see from the graph in the previous slide. So this is the AM wave. We know from our previous knowledge, at a particular time t0, the slope of the output signal, which we know we can find by the first derivative, that is equal to this value given by equation 2. So it is a simple differentiation of equation 1. Now the rate of discharge of the capacitor, it is given by this equation 4. So we do this formula in the plus 2 class, where we find the voltage across the capacitor while charging or discharging. So from here, if we find the slope of this capacitor voltage by the same first derivative, you get this value, and by putting the value of Et naught from equation 3, you get this equation 5. So equation 5 gives you the slope of the capacitor voltage. So what we want? We want the slope of the capacitor voltage, it should be less than or equal to slope of that AM wave. So put both the values here. So we have put in that condition the expressions of both slopes, and this is simple mathematical steps. From here you can easily find the value of the time constant, that is the maximum permissible value of the time constant. So these are the steps. They are quite easy, you can do it on your own. So from all these calculations, we get this equation 7. So the maximum value of the time constant RC, it should be always less than this expression on the right side. So these are some cases. For 100% modulation, we know MA equal to 1. If we put here, then we get time constant is 0. So which is not possible. So experimentally it was found that the value of time constant is always less than or equal to 1 over omega s MA. So these expressions you are useful when you are to solve some numericals. So here this was the second article of demodulation. I hope both the articles you must have understood. So thanks all of you.